Alright, so this is going to be a demonstration for how to draw your logos using the, if you're doing a letter or word mark. Okay, so, again, you're going to go on to Classroom. You're going to find where your company logos are. So if you go into Classroom, Classwork, and you go under your Resource tab. Uh, you click on company logos. You guys are gonna have your logos on here. I haven't actually had a chance to. I scanned in all your pictures, but I just haven't put them on Classroom yet. So they'll be on Classroom though. But you'll click on the image that's yours, and just make sure to double check your names. Just go to open a new window, and you're just gonna click on the download button to download the picture. So this is gonna show up in your downloads folder, and just make sure to wherever this downloads folder is, just drag your image to your folder on the desktop. So, but that's how you're gonna download the pictures. And once you have your picture downloaded, I'm actually just use my own picture. So you're just gonna click and drag this image into Photoshop, or not Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and this is like where we're going to start to trace your image. So, I can actually just keep it on here. So you want to make sure you go to your layers window. So again, if you go to Windows, Layers, it's going to pop up. Make sure to lock this layer and change this layer name to Sketches, just so you know what it is. And then on top of that, I want you guys to create a new layer on top, and you can just title this your logo layer. Okay, so this way that when we work on tracing your logo, we can uh, you know, we won't move the sketches around, and we can work on the logos on top. So just make sure the logos layer is selected. So for this demonstration, I'm going to show you guys how to do the letter and the word mark. So it is a little bit differently than doing like the drawing of the logo. Um, so okay, so so if you've done a letter or word mark, then you probably have like a good idea of like what your words should look like in terms of the design of your logo. So you do have a couple options with this. One option is you can actually just use the pen tool here, and so use the pen tool, changes to the outline. I'll also change this color to black too. So if you go to Windows, Swatches, and when you go to Swatches, you want to click on this bottom left-hand corner of the libraries, and go to Default Swatches. Change it to Print, and this is like all the default colors that you should have or that you can use. So I would just change the outline to black. So just make sure the outline is or the stroke is selected. So if I click on here, this is gonna select the fill, and then this one's gonna select the stroke part. Okay, so just make sure stroke is selected. And one thing you can do, really easy, is you can actually just trace the lines in your picture. Oops, messed up here. So you can trace the lines here. That's one way. If you did a really, really good job with your um, drawing of the words, then I do suggest just trace what you guys drew. If you have like thicker lines like this, so um, if your lines are thicker, like where I drew like the bottom left, do feel free to just change the whole letter into a shape. So I'm actually just gonna trace um, the letter. And sometimes having those bold areas in the letters and having some parts a little skinnier, it does create a little bit more of like a dynamic look for the logo. So do make sure to trace those areas and trace it all the way around, because you want to make sure to have like that whole shape. So once you trace that whole shape around, you can actually use this flipper. Whoops. I like the top part selected. So you select this part here, and you can either flip it or it give you like a solid color. Instead of having that outline, you have like a solid color. But you gotta make sure though you have to trace the whole shape. You go from one part to the back to the end. And then you either can hit this flipper, or the hotkey for that is going to be Shift X. So I'm going to give you guys a copy of a couple of different hotkeys to use, and also just just to suggest something, you can actually just add thicker lines to it, to make it look a little bit more interesting. In this case, I may have to actually redraw that whole line again. So let me just redraw it again, though, just to show you. So, you can always change and make adjustments to the your original sketches. If you feel like you need more bolder lines, feel free to do that. And I'm gonna hit Shift X to do that. So you can freehand or free draw your letters. If you feel like you did a real good job on that. Or the other option too is you can actually use the type tool here. So I'm gonna click on the type tool. Type in I clicked on the screen. I'm just gonna type in the word fresh. So I'm just gonna resize it as well. Just have it about like the same size. It doesn't have to be perfectly sized. So this is actually tilted a little bit. So I'm gonna tilt it a little bit upward. So, you can actually use the type tool here. So if you go to Windows, Type, Characters. So when you click on that, this is what should pop up though. It's gonna be right here. So you're gonna have this one on the pasta. So you click on the type here, and you can actually just like go through like the different typefaces and try to find something that's like similar to yours. So I do want you to look at all the fonts though. This is pretty close though, but there are a couple of different like cursive fonts too. Just scroll down, take a look at them all. There's a lot of different types of fonts, so you might find something very similar to like what you drew. And if it's not similar to it, you can or if it's not exactly the same thing, you can find something very similar to it. Just be mindful though when you get to the very bottom. So like if I scroll to the very bottom, once you go to like like different languages, so like oh, you know what? Actually, there's actually some more fonts down here. Not really. Oh, that's interesting. These ones with like different languages. It's still English. Alright, but I kind of scrolled down these fonts. So this is actually the one that I like the most out of all of them, if I remember. Yeah, I think it was this one here. But if you find like that font you want though, this will save you a whole lot of time on doing the drawing for it. So like for example, like this is a really good font that's very similar to mine, and it is a little bit. It does look a little bit more cleaner with the way that they have the font here. So the only other thing I had to add is just like this, this curve that I made here. So that's just like really, or that ain't that hard to draw. So if you overlap it, try to have it like. So I'm actually gonna get rid of what I drew here. I'm just gonna select it, delete it. Highlight what I have here. Again, I'm just gonna try to find something similar to it. You can always change up how it looks, but I could use the pencil here. And obviously, since the curves are a little bit more different, I can. I'm sure you're just gonna change up. How the line looks. So I might have it curve out a little bit more up here. Whoops. So I want to change this to the stroke here. And I'm going to have this curve around there. It's going to go down here. And, I'm just basically drawing like the same line that I have here. And then my suggestion, like I said before with your letter forms, is do change this into a shape if possible. Because when you change it into a shape, it will make the lines a little bit more interesting to look at, especially if you play around with those thin and thick lines. You can really exaggerate the look of the line. So, now that I've traced like a shape here, this is like a whole shape here, you can actually change it to the fill, and it'll give you like a better cursive line. So I'm actually draw a little bit more on it. So, you don't have to exactly trace what you guys drew. You can always make changes and adjustments as you guys are working. If you feel like, you can do like a better job on like what you did in your sketches, then always feel free to, change up those things. So, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to show you too is you can actually go to your layers window. And if you click on the eyeball, you can kind of like see how the, your drawing looks. So, just doing this saves you a lot more time than having to trace each of those letters, because sometimes the letters are at least for me, letters are really hard to draw. So it is easier to look for fonts that are similar. You can always make changes or adjustments to the font. But after you're done with like finding your fonts, it should look kind of like this though. So I actually spent a little bit more time with drawing the shape a little bit better. Well, actually, you know what? For like this specific example though, I actually used this which tool is it? I think it was like a curvature tool. You know what? Yeah, you just want to take your time more with it, but I use like this curvature tool, so this. I don't know. I had to play around with it to figure it out, but this kind of makes this tool actually gives you cleaner curves though if you play around with it. It does work very similar to the other tool, but I don't know. You might want to play around with it if you like playing around, if you have curves like the one I have. This is gonna actually give you more cleaner curves. If you were to use this curvature tool. I would do like the same thing though. I can actually curve this. I guess I can. Well, I'll have to show you how to do that. So if any of you guys are like curious on how I made the lines look cleaner with curves, just let me know. I can help you out with that. I actually had to expand this line, change the line width in this specific line though. But but basically the words that I have here, it was strictly just the type tool that I used. So the nice thing about the computer and technology is there are things we can do to make things a lot easier than having to redraw or redo certain things. All right.